Those are the lovely piano sounds of T.J. Fowler playing T.J. Boogie of 1948. What we're going to see now is the post-war era with liberalism under Truman, the election of 1948, and then Truman's second term. One of the men who dominates this period in politics, although he does not become president of the United States himself, is Senator Robert Taft of Ohio. And the name Taft should sound familiar to you because he is the son of the former president, William Howard Taft. Robert Taft was an arch conservative in the Senate from the Republican Party, a staunch Republican, who felt that his father had been mistreated by many in the Republican Party, and did his very best to turn the Congress and the country in a more conservative bent in the post-war era. He is very much a man behind the scenes when it comes to certain of the major programs undertaken by the Senate and even in the House of Representatives as well. But he is the chief pusher of legislation in Congress and the chief blocker of legislation in Congress. So what was liberalism under Truman? It was called Furthering the New Deal, better known as the Fair Deal, and I've already made mention of the Fair Deal before. When we say liberal, we're thinking of the old Northeast term Fair Deal characterizes the entire domestic agenda. He was considered to be a very vulnerable candidate from 1945 to 1953, but Truman did not announce the Fair Deal. The Republicans until 1948 addressed Congress in 1949. A lawyer from New York. The most important proposals that he had were aid to education, universal health insurance, fair employment practices, which he understood that he was going to lose, and a repeal of the Taft-Hartley Act. Up for 1948. They were all debated at length. The Democrats now make some smaller and less controversial led by the arch segregationists that liberals could claim Thurman of South Carolina, especially when it came to opening the door towards civil rights. Truman is one of the first to really start prying open the door towards civil rights. And this creates a major problem that Truman has in furthering his, and many felt that Truman would be defeated and at the convention it was even bantered about that Truman was not exactly from what is called a conservative coalition. Truman had to go in at Republicans led by Taft and many Southern Democrats who, when they sniffed the word civil rights, that he was the man for the job. Gives a stirring speech. So, as it becomes closer and closer to the election, that there is this overwhelming Thomas Dewey is going to win the presidency at the time. That so much so that the Chicago Tribune, a Republican-leaning paper, where you have this one overarching problem gives the election gets in the way of blocking rather the agenda of a president. When all the votes are counted in the end, and if you will take very careful. It is a major that is going on right now, and they you see the Russia investigation gleefully holding aloft continues to hamper the president's ability, which is why get things done in the White House. Newspapers and now it's even don't like to call the election until the last vote is counted. The Taft-Hartley Act, which was one of the things that Truman put control within both House hairs, was an act that favored big business and management over labor. Truman wants to favor labor more in the dynamic. That's why he calls it the Fair Deal. Election of and Truman wants to advance civil rights. Executive Order 9088 integrates the military. Massachusetts and so the military integrates after during the Great Korean War. States and Oregon, and Truman this, of course, makes many Southern Democrats with the exception extremely unhappy. South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, and civil rights. Louisiana, who all go for the Southern Democrats from Thurman going to begin South Carolina. Slow turn Tennessee gives Thurman one of its electoral votes because one particular congressional district was very much in favor of Thurman. So you see there the election of 1948. Harry S. Truman's second term from 1949 to 1953 shows that he faced a number of opposition to his civil rights initiatives, but he's prying open the door. He is letting in the inevitable. In 1949, the Soviets get a hold of the bomb. They get a hold of the bomb by stealing it from us. American scientists leaked nuclear secrets to the Soviets. You also had the Red Scare. The Red Scare severely undermined Truman because now conservatives who were opposed to any liberal or fair deal legislation could easily turn and taint it with communism and say, see, this is a communist thing, and people ran from that as if you were running from the plague. The Korean War severely undermined his presidency. And there was a widening American influence in a place in Southeast Asia called French Indochina. One of the nations that make that up is called Vietnam. The picture that you see there is that Truman, when he moved into the White House, this was actually the first house that he was the master of. He had always lived with the in-laws prior to this. Now he's the master of the White House. He decides the White House is a piece of crap on the inside. The electrical wiring was bad, the floors were caving in, the ceilings were bad, and so he moves his family out of the White House into the house across the way and restores the White House. Totally guts it, does not touch the exterior that was built back in 1790s, 1800s, but he guts out the interior and lays down an entirely new house on the inside.